Section 2, 3F of Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act says I cannot be tried in Nigeria. That's the law of Nigeria. Yes. I can never be tried in any court of law in Nigeria. That's what the law says.
Say it again.
Anybody standing in trial or coming to try me is a terrorist. That's what their law says.
As simple as that.
Not me.
As simple as that.
Section 2, subsection 3F of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what it says. Any court considered to try me is committing an act of terrorism.
Yes.
Very clear. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then come to try that very person. Is not done anywhere in the world at all. So you must be aware of that. Yeah. So that is why there is all these ridiculous delays. That is what Supreme Court said. I did not jump bail. My home was invaded. They came to kill me and I survived. They came to Kenya to kidnap me, brought me back to this country and seeking to try me, which the law says cannot happen. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then hope to stand on that illegality to conduct a trial. Is not done anywhere in the world. And it will happen in my case. Nobody has, there's no exception. No exception whatsoever. That's what the law says. Section 12 of the Constitution, what does it say? Any treaty ratified by Nigeria becomes law. It's law. You cannot change it. It doesn't matter what they do. All these shenanigans is just pure rubbish. You never stand. Not with me.
Now, wow, this is what the Igbo man will say, Obajugodoro. Now, look at what he said. Section 2, 3F of the Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act reveals he cannot be tried in any courts in Nigeria. There is no court they can take him to and try him. According to that Section 2, 3F of the Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act. Now, you know what? You know the problem here? He himself, Nnamdi Kanu, he's the one speaking there. He knows the law. Now, you can see he's quoting it off head. Wahala there for this one. He himself knows the law. It is not his legal teams that are saying this. He himself knows it off head. He's saying he cannot be tried. And anyone who tries him is a terrorist. And according to him, he said Nigeria entered a treaty and has to abide by such treaty. Can you get that? Trying him based on the fact that they have entered into a treaty and trying him following that is illegal. And in Nigeria and in most cases, any treaty ratified becomes law. So according to him, he cannot be tried. Trying him is illegal. Now back to what happened in the court. There was a sitting today. The court rejected fresh application for bail and warned his legal team, Ejimako and the rest of them, not to make such application again because it could attract fine or other things. So according to Binta Nyako, he said Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail. You remember in 2019, it was few days to court and the army, in the name of, I don't know, operation whatsoever, invaded his house. And prior to that time, Nnamdi Kanu too was telling his followers that he's going to court, that they should come, that he wants them en masse to be around. And what happened? Prior to the day of the court, his home was invaded. Everybody knows that. And we don't know whether he was weeks away. We don't know what actually happened. But it was invaded and he did not appear in the court. And there were sureties. Remember, there were sureties who I think they gave, I don't know whether it's 100 million naira each, the bail bond. And they were asked to provide Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And they couldn't. And the court ordered forfeiture of that bail bond. When you provide money as a surety or whatever you have produced for somebody's bail, if the person disappears or elopes, what happens is that your money will be seized. So that was it. So Binta Nyako told them, you cannot make fresh application. You can only appeal her judgment. He warned them making fresh application could attract whatever, I don't know whether it's fine or. And then Nnamdi Kanu himself said, as you've heard from that video, he did not jump bail. He was kidnapped. That is what he said. Okay, the army invaded his home. I don't know how he survived. And they still went to Kenya, kidnapped him. Some put it in legal parlance, rendition to Nigeria, whatsoever. According to him, they don't have the right to try him. He said, he's saying it without fear. You people cannot try me. And he said such while he was arrested before, I remember. He said it boldly, that they cannot try him. Meanwhile, before I forget, Binta Nyako in her ruling said DSS should allow him meet with his legal team and the doctor of his choice. They said he cannot be transferred from DSS to anywhere. He will remain there, pending the determination of the suit. And a lawyer has complained before that DSS is taping their messages. Can you imagine? Recording their messages. I don't know, maybe to present it as evidence in court. Now let's look at Martin Nnamdi Kanu's case from the start. If this is the first time you are going through this, what happened was that, let me read it from the start as recorded here. Justice Nyako, like I said, warned that any attempt at Kanu's legal team to file similar application before the court will be regarded as a gross abuse of the judicial process. But they have an option to appeal. So how did this go? How did this go from the start? Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in Lagos. That was, I think the first arrest was in October 14, 2015. He had returned from United Kingdom and he was picked up. And Justice Nyako on April 25th, 2017, granted him bail based on health grounds. He has spent 18 months in detention. So upon the perfection of the bail conditions, he was on April 28, 2017, released from Kuje prison. Okay, some report will say he escaped. After being released, he was supposed to appear in the court. But what we know, we are aware of the Python dance as at that time that happened. And, Abia State was like in a turmoil. And soldiers invaded his Afaruku home in Ibeku, in Umuahia, Abia State. And some people died, you remember? Okay, some of the news report will tell you he was rearrested in Kenya on June 19, 2021. An extraordinary rendition back to the country by security agents on June 27, 2021. But other records will tell you he was kidnapped. And that is kidnap for me. I don't know whether it's an Interpol that picked him up in Kenya. For what? So it's a kidnap. Now, following the development, the trial court on June 29, 2021, remanded him in custody of DSS where he remained till date. On April 8, 2022, the court struck out 8 of the 15-count charges that federal government preferred against him on the premise that they lacked substance. While they struck it out, they reorganized. Likewise, the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal on October 13, 2022, ordered Kanu's immediate release from detention, even as it quashed the charge against him. What damaged the whole case is that kidnap, rendition, and whatsoever you call it. I learned that English from Ejimako. Extraordinary rendition, that's where I learned the English. Whatever happened, the manner at which he was brought in destroyed everything. And you remember the 3 judges who dismissed the case and granted him, acquitted him. But the federal government quickly moved those judges away, brought some other judges, and they gave another judgment, which made the government to still keep him in their custody. And let's continue to brief you on what actually happened. The federal government actually took the matter to Supreme Court and persuaded the court to suspend the execution of the judgment, the one given by appeal, pending the determination of his appeal, because it has appealed another one. Now, why deciding the appeal? The Supreme Court on December 15, 2023, vacated the judgment of the appellate court and gave federal government the nod to try the IPOB leader on subsisting 7-count charges. And please note that the Supreme Court also said he did not jump bail. There was a conclusion that he did not jump bail, and that the manner at which he was brought to Nigeria was somehow, but they said he still has a case to answer. That is the continuation. I have to brief you a little for those who have not been following. Thanks for watching. Please share this video widely. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. Bye-bye for now.